Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another video. It's time for my Q&A. Thank you guys for all of your questions that you submitted in the comments to that video that I left last week. Apologies to those that I couldn't read out, but right here, let's get straight into it. My mate RKT asks, who will win the Capital One Cup final, Liverpool or Manchester City, and why? You know, to be honest with you, mate, of course, I'm not the biggest fan of Liverpool, so I definitely want Manchester City to win that match. But I think Liverpool have got a really good chance in that match, considering City's form, how bad they've been recently, the fact that they've got a poor defence. Liverpool as well having that brilliant win on Sunday, the Valentine's Day massacre at Aston Villa. Sure, we know that the quality within Aston Villa is not very good, but I'm sure that's going to give confidence to the players. Also, the fact you aren't going to have that kind of fixture congestion once again with the FA Cup since you've been knocked out of that. So you're going to have a little bit more time to rest. I know you've got the Europa League to go with that, so I know that will be a little bit of a problem, but as well City have got a little bit of a fixture congestion as well. I think they probably will play more fixtures than you in that week build up, so that'll probably help you. Jurgen Klopp, for him to win a trophy in his first year, considering he's taken over from Brendan Rodgers, everything Brendan Rodgers did with that squad, you know, and the way he's been able to take it. Sure, in the league you aren't that good, but at the same time, to win a trophy, to win a bit of silverware would be a brilliant achievement for Jurgen Klopp in his first year with basically not really his squad. I think I've said on this channel before that I think once Jurgen Klopp's got the players in the summer and he's able to spend, then you can start criticising him. But to be able to win a trophy in this year would be brilliant for Liverpool. But for me, you know, the one thing I think it'll be an entertaining match. I think it will be, because I think both teams don't know how to defend. Basically, they're both prone to conceding a lot of goals. So I do expect an entertaining final, probably a 3-2 either way. But as I say, I personally want Manchester City to win it, but I could easily see Liverpool winning it 3-2. Oliver asks, what's your favourite Chelsea game that Chelsea didn't win? Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting question, because I have been to some games, like really high scoring games, especially at Stamford Bridge, that, you know, we haven't won, but have been games that I'll remember for a long time. And funny enough, one happened very recently, the Everton game. What a crazy, well, second half that was. And then the second one that comes to mind is the one against Aston Villa, the 4-4. I think it was in 2008. I think that may have been a Boxing Day game, if I remember rightly. What a game of football that was. And you know anything about that, I think we conceded late on, but still an amazing game of football to be at and to witness right in front of you. I'll kind of sway towards the Everton game simply because it was John Terry, that motion late on. I didn't expect us to get back into that game, and the fact that John Terry stepped up late on that flick, even though it was offside, which sort of made it a little bit better in a sense. Mark asks, what Drogba goal is your favourite? For me, it has to be the header in Munich that got us back into the Champions League final. We know what happened from there. Pretty simple. Alexander asks, what position do you think we need to strengthen for the upcoming season? And if John Terry does leave the club at the end of the season, who would you like to replace him as captain? I think we need to strengthen the defence. I'd like to see maybe a Marquinhos from PSG come in the summer if we were able to get him, because I think he'd really help out our back line. And this also follows into the second question about John Terry leaving, because if John Terry does leave, for me the most realistic captain is going to be probably Ivanovic. He's signed that 1-year contract extension. He's probably one of the most experienced players within the club, so I wouldn't have no problem with him taking the armband. But the problem is, I don't see him as the future of our defence. So would he be in and out of the team? So that's kind of an interesting one. But for me, other than that, I've discussed this before. For me, letting John Terry go is one of the most stupidest things this club can do. Let's do the common sense thing and give captain leader legend JT the contract he deserves. Hardra asks, would Manchester City take over English football because of Pep coming in? You know, I've heard a lot of people talk about this. Pep Guardiola coming in basically means that now Manchester City are going to dominate English football. And, you know, in some sense that could be the case. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens when Pep Guardiola comes into Manchester City. The signings he makes, the way he shakes up that squad, because I do think there's some shaking up that needs to be done within that squad to improve it. But I think Pep Guardiola, I think he is going to have a little bit of problems. I can't see him coming in and strolling the league. I could be wrong on that, and I could easily see him coming in and doing that because of the quality of a manager he is. But I do think there will be problems at Manchester City. You've got to look at the case where, if you look at where he's been at Bayern, you know, where basically he's been strolling the league for the past couple of years. Then when he gets into the Champions League, he's sort of faltered at the last stage in the massive games over the past couple of years for Bayern that, you know, you don't expect them to win, because basically them winning the league, I know is an accomplishment, but in the eyes of like European football and the way you look at it, it's not as competitive, if we're going to be bluntly honest about it. They pretty much stroll that league every season, so you expect them to win that. You expect them to win maybe a domestic trophy like a cup along with that. But Champions League is where Bayern have to be doing better, and Pep hasn't really done that much. They've got battered by Real Madrid in the second leg I think it was 2 seasons ago, and then last year we know what happened with Lionel Messi in Barcelona. So this season I think he has to deliver in his last season at Bayern, but I think he has to improve City in the Champions League. And I don't think he'll have it all his own way, but I definitely see him making City a bigger and better club than they are now. The Kef21 asks, which 5 teams do you hate the most? This is a very controversial topic. I mean, hate is a very strong word, but you know, teams that I probably dislike the most: Liverpool, Arsenal, Leeds, Tottenham's got to come in today. That's about 4, isn't it? I'd probably even maybe, you know, throw a QPR in there, but QPR are a bit irrelevant in a lot of ways. You know, they're in the Championship. Sorry, Michael. Just had to throw that cheap dig in there. No, I'd say that as well. It's weird with Chelsea because we don't really have local kind of rivals. QPR, but they're never really in the Premier League. So that's the closest we have to sort of a local derby in a sense. You know, Arsenal have Tottenham, Manchester City have Manchester United, Liverpool have Everton. You know, list goes on about like local derbies that you have. Chelsea don't really have that, which is a bit of a shame. But I'd definitely say those sort of clubs, 5 teams. So I would say Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, Leeds, and I'll throw QPR in there maybe. Chelsea Till I Die asks, which teams in England have the most glory hunters in your opinion? I'm going to be straight before I answer this question. I do understand that Chelsea have a lot of glory hunters. I think all big clubs do nowadays. Just sadly, it's a part of modern football, and I don't think it's going to go away. But personally, for me, I'm just going to go with Manchester United. And the reason I will say Manchester United, in a lot of ways, it's a credit to how big they are in this country. But the fact you have so many fans of Manchester United in London, you know, I think pretty much proves it. And I know there are some Manchester United fans in London that I know that are very credible at the club, know the club very well, inside and out, travel up to Manchester, which is a credit to them, travel up to the games, you know, fair play. But when you see a lot of fans that say they support Manchester United and don't even know the first 11, don't know what's going on, jump between clubs as well. You know, oh, my London team's this, but I support Manchester United. You know, you see fans like that. I'll say Manchester United because you see a lot of Manchester United fans that don't even live in Manchester. CTID1905 asks, why do you support Chelsea and how long have you been a Chelsea fan for? Been a Chelsea fan probably to this point for about 12 years, I think it is now, probably. I started supporting Chelsea when I was 5 years old. I'm now 18, so recently turned 18, so pretty much there was no decision. My family have supported Chelsea basically for generations, and pretty much Chelsea are my local club. That's why I support Chelsea. You hear a lot of people talk about their local club. Chelsea are my local club, so supporting my local team in a sense. And there was no really other team that I was going to support. There are pictures of me before I even knew what football was in Chelsea tops, like the auto glass tops. So I was pretty much born to be a Chelsea fan, and you know, pretty much there's no one else I was going to support. So thank you guys for all of your questions. As I say, apologies to those that I couldn't read out. Definitely do enjoy doing these Q&A. Thank you guys for all of your questions. Follow me on Twitter at SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again. Hello there guys, what is going on? SonOfChelsea back here again for another video, and this is probably going to be a 2-part video analysing and talking through the upcoming 2 games for Chelsea. This is probably 2 of the biggest games